out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
No, Curry and Rich are going under the bus right off the top here for deciding to do this show while there's a playoff game going on. Not just a playoff game, a Guardians playoff game. You guys.
Well, we got a Guardians guy and a Yankees guy, and I'm in the middle, so I'm just very.
So you should be doing this show.
You do all the talking, Curry, and we'll just watch the game.
Well,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, let me slide by. Rich, tell me what's going on in the game, and we'll do it that way.
Well,
Under the Bus, of course, is brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. We are glad to have them as our great sponsor, a great restaurant here on Hilton Head Island, where the three of us reside. And they are a fabulous place. Again, hudsonsonthedocks.com. Check out their menu. And when you're down here, go see them. It's just a super place. All right, let's talk baseball. We got the Yankees and the Guardians going on. Yankees already winning game 2 early with Garrett Cole, their $700 billion pitcher on the mound. The Guardians have a whole team full of guys who are playing for minimum wage. I mean, they're making $7 an hour, $8 an hour. And, they had to clock in and clock out. Team with no money is taking the mighty Yankees, into game 2. And there will at least be they'll take them into game 4 at least, which I think is quite an achievement.
Well, you don't think it's going to be a sweep? Do you really think it's going to be a sweep?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I've been watching these guys all year long. They might turn around and sweep the Yankees. I don't think so, but you never know.
What? Bob, I got to say, as just an objective observer, it doesn't look to me like they're in the same class here. I mean, defend your Indians last night. 5 walks, 5 wild pitches, 7 walks. And tonight, your shortstop blows a pop fly from Aaron Judge. The guy gets out of the inning, but they don't look ready for prime time to me. I mean, I know you're going to go back to Cleveland. That's lucky.
Yeah, the Guardians last night pitched, 6-7 pitchers. The most experienced pitcher this year was a guy they got in May. They had nobody who pitched last night was with the team in spring training.
Wow.
They've had to patch this thing together and piece it together. The manager, Stephen Vogt, will probably be manager of the year. The front office, Kansas City's front office, will probably be win those awards. But the Guardians, I mean, they found last night's pitcher. They found him. He'd been injured all year. They traded to the Giants for him. His first start was in August. The guy who's going to pitch game 3, the left-hander, pitched. They didn't get him till July because he'd been injured. So they're patching it together. If they could ever get a lead to their bullpen, in the 6th inning, they can win.
Yeah. Their bullpen's the best in
Meanwhile,
baseball.
Who's that guy, Rich? Who's that guy in the Yankees dugout? I thought we fired him weeks ago.
Who's that? Boom?
The manager? Yeah, I thought you fired him weeks ago.
Yeah, Rich
I fired him and Stanton and half the team. Yeah. They have shocked me. They really have shocked me, especially.
By the way, the Yankees have another run in and men on 2nd and 3rd, so you're in trouble again. The only, I got to confess, I don't know hardly anybody on this team except I love the guy Big Christmas, but he's not even playing, is he? He comes off the bench. No. He comes off the bench. Not a game. And you got a bunch of guys named Naylor and Big Christmas. That's all I know about the Guardians.
Two Canadian brothers.
Rich, I got to get on the Yankees. Rich, I got to gig you. My boy Juan Carlo Babe Ruth Stanton, who hits like a maniac, and you hate the guy. But in the postseason, you got to love him, right?
Oh, I know. He's been terrific. He really has. He's actually surprised me because I think he's a hitter that just guesses, and he's guessing correctly. He does have power. We've always known that, but Man, he's really coming through. I think, what did he bat, 220 during the regular season? And he's batting about 350 right now.
Who's the guy? Who's your catcher that bats cleanup? Why does he bat cleanup?
I don't, because they have nobody else.
He's awful. I mean,
he's a rookie. He's a rookie.
I
He
don't
hit
know.
well.
I
He
don't
hit
know.
well for a period, and Boone puts him there. You know, that's the thing with their lineup. You know, you never know who's going to bat where. He changes it all the time. But you know, I
Well,
can't fault them. They're in the position where what we hope for, to have a chance to go to the World Series. So Boone's pushed the right buttons at the right time this year. Stanton's come through during the playoffs. Judge has not, but Stanton has made up for the difference.
yeah, that's right. Judge is made up for. I mean, Stanton's made up for Judge. The thing
Yep.
that interested me last night the most, of course, was seeing Taylor Swift and her boyfriend in the box, and they, you know, what is it, about 35 degrees? It looks so
It
cold.
was cold. It was windy.
Yeah,
It was
and they're all,
really windy.
and Taylor's all bundled up,
Yeah.
and
Eating popcorn.
she went crazy when what's his name?
Soto.
When Soto hit it out, she went crazy, and Kelsey looked over and says, "Hey, wrong team." I mean, he's got to tell her because he's a big, he's a big Guardians fan. That's why.
I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah. I don't think
Oh,
Taylor's a big baseball fan. I think she
No.
was just awed by the moment. I mean, and
Well, I
Soto hit
know
it. It was a big blast.
I know, but it was really cute when Kelsey had to look over because he's the Guardians guy. I mean, that's why he loves the Guardians. He's there, say, hey, Tay, it's wrong team.
Have you guys
How
ever
about-
seen the clip? And maybe we'll get Justin to find this. The clip of when Kelsey threw out the first pitch in Cleveland.
No. I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
this last summer, Kelsey threw out a first pitch, and it is gross. I'm sure Justin will find it for us. And
Did he bounce the ball? Did he bounce the ball to home plate?
Oh, did he get it out of his hand before it hit the ground? I mean, good grief. It was horrific.
So
Fortunately,
Soto,
he's a pass catcher, not a pass thrower.
well, after Soto hits it out, then Stanton hits that shot. I mean, that was a rocket. That thing he hit, Rich.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable how hard he hits
Here
the
we
ball.
go.
Stanton.
Here we go. We're going to see Kelsey got everybody fired up, going to throw the pitch. I mean, it hit.
Almost kills the mascot. Almost killed him. Yeah.
It hit 30 feet in front of home plate.
That's why he's a football player.
And you notice, no, I think that was Bieber actually, but I thought it was Bo Naylor catching, and he did about what he did in game one and not catch it. You know, just got banged through the wall, and runs would have scored. But anyway. So so Rich or Curry, let me ask you this: how awful would a Subway series be for the rest of the country?
Awesome.
I'm almost vomiting thinking of it. Oh my goodness. How this guy on my left, oh my God.
Could they play double headers?
Although you know,
so that
like
we just
Mets,
get it over with?
Yeah.
Would you watch it, Bob? Bob, would you watch it?
No, NCIS debuts this week. I think I can catch up on a couple of back episodes. I've got some Jeopardy stacked up from when we were on vacation.
Well, now that we're moving to the Mets, let me throw somebody under here, and I don't know though. Well, I don't know if this happened because I don't know if this didn't get enough attention because, of course, a lot of kiddies are watching the baseball game. But I don't know if you saw the end of the Dodgers-Padres game where they beat them 2-0 to get to the next round. But the interview with Kiki Hernandez after the game. Oh my goodness! Oh, Ken Rosenthal. Should I give my version of it or Bob?
Absolutely.
Ken Rosenthal's interviewing Kiki, and Kiki's been around. He played for a ton of different teams. He knows what he's talking about. And Rosenthal says, Kiki, you've been on a lot of teams. Why is this team so different? And Kiki looks around. He looks to the right field, looks to the left field. He looks at Ken and he says, are we live? And Ken Rosenthal says, we're live. And Kiki Hernandez says, the fact we don't give a F I mean, but he didn't say F, right on national
No.
live TV. And Rosenthal was kind of stunned. He can't. Well, all right. And he goes back to the studio, and the guy
Get
says,
me out
"Well,
of this.
yeah." The guy says, "Well, all right, thank you." So,
Thank you.
and then Kiki. Now this made the rounds of the internet in game one. Which the Dodgers blew him out. What, 9-0?
Right.
He hits a home run. And did you see he comes around and instead of chest bumps Gavin Lux, he crotch bumps and he crotch rocks. And watch this. What is that? What is that? Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Somebody was calling that instead of chest bumps, they were calling banana bumps.
Wait till the NFL gets a hold of that. Once the
they were
NFL
like,
sees that, forget about it.
oh, they were like crotch rocks. I call them. It's unbelievable. And
More guys are running around the bases. Is this getting worse? Yes, it is. All right.
Yeah,
3-0
now. 3-0, 5 hits, still some base runners. The but Kiki then in game two, he left he had the home run in game one, but game two he left five runners on base when the Mets got ahead and stayed ahead, which was kind of impressive. I mean, because now they go back to New York, don't you think, Rich, with just a 1-1?
Yeah. I think in New York, the Mets it's the 69 Mets all over again. Miracle Mets.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they've done this year. Remember how bad they were the first month of the season? They were awful. I thought the manager would get fired before he even got started. They were so bad. But
Well,
they've come on.
Yep.
Let me ask you, baseball expert, something which was puzzling to me: the handling of pitchers, both by the Dodgers and the Mets. I mean, the Mets throw a bullpen game in the first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They start somebody named Brazier,
Right.
and Lindor hits it out. Then they bring in Landon Dakota Knack. And the internet blows up because there was a musical group called the Knack in the 70s,
Right.
who had the hit of the decade, My Sharona. You remember that song?
Sharona, yeah.
One of the worst songs. Yeah, one of the worst songs ever made. And the Knack was the group that made it. And the internet was playing My Sharona when this guy got in the set. And they walk Lindor, and then Vientos goes grand slam,
right,
and the game's over.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand why after okay, so now the Dodgers have the first. Now it's game two. Why didn't the Dodgers pitch Buehler? Instead, they go a bullpen game.
Yeah.
And then they get murdered. What's that all about? I don't
know. The bullpen thing, all of a sudden, I don't know what team started that, but I don't remember in the playoffs using the bullpen like they're using it now. All the teams are doing it. They're all doing it.
Yeah.
But Bob, why didn't Dodgers pitch Buehler in game two to try to get a killer 2-game lead?
No, they should have. And the reason they did what they did was because they got away with it against San Diego. They threw a shutout with a bullpen game. And so Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, who I think is a great manager and still might get fired if they don't win it all. He threw a bullpen game, threw a shutout. So he's thinking he's pretty smart. Gee, let's do that again. And the success rate of that is not good. And the Dodgers were amazingly good pitching against the Padres, who were my pick to win the whole thing. In that second round, and then now it's 1-1. Now they're back in New York. Now they'll probably be a little more conventional. Watch out for the Mets playing.
Well, they got Buehler.
The
Dodgers have Buehler and Yamamoto go 3 and 4, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now they have, so maybe they're thinking about that. I got a little story about the Mets. This is indicative of the Mets season. They have a second baseman named Jose Iglesias, who's 34 years old. This is his his 8th team. Mm-hmm. And last summer, he was basically playing out the string of his career in El Paso. And his side hustle or his hobby happens to be music, and he almost quit the game. But in the meanwhile, he made a song. He came up to the Mets last summer, and one of his or this summer, I mean, I'm sorry, and one of his songs basically changed his whole life. He records under the name of Candelito, meaning little candle, and he recorded a song called OMG, Oh My God. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
OMG became the theme of the Mets season. And that's why you see all these signs all over in the dugout, in the stands. It's everywhere. Everywhere time the Mets hit a home run, they put up this OMG stuff. I didn't know what this was until I found out about my boy Candelito. This song became number one on the Latin pop charts, and it seriously, it and then he re-recorded it with my other boy, Mr. Worldwide Pitbull, and of course that became a huge hit. And the Mets go crazy. This guy, and of course he's no relation to the other music Iglesias family, Julio and his son Enrique, who are from Spain. Jose is from Havana. So there's quite a difference. But, I never knew what this OMG was until I just read about this. It's amazing.
All of you folks who are listening and watching this podcast, you just learned something. See, we're educational. We're not just entertaining, not just three old talking heads. We're here to teach. Professor Curry, professor of music, has just taught us that. Now, if we could just get Taylor Swift to record it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are we live? Are we live?
Yeah, are we live? So who wins Mets Dodgers?
Mets.
Dodgers.
Okay, great.
All right, Bob. Who do you say?
I'm depending on Shohei getting a hit after being 0 for 19 with nobody on base. What is that all about?
Well, and what is this whole MVP talk? The MVP is going to be picked because of what they did in the regular season.
Yes.
Shohei's not the most important. I mean, when he hits, when he's playing, he's a force. Aaron Judge is not playing like an MVP. Bobby Witt Jr. didn't. The MVP is probably that Detroit guy, Carpenter, who hit the 3-run homer off Class A and then almost beat him again in Game 5. That's, the MVP.
Class A, by the way, Bob, is the biggest celebrity on the Cleveland Guardians. He may never get in the game. I'm sorry. He might not get in a game. It's 3-0. I mean, I'm sorry, but
No, you're right. It's tough to see it playing out like this, and it's really tough because it's the Yankees. They are the bane of existence for Cleveland people. It was so much fun in the 90s when they played in the playoffs, because Albert Bell was a Yankee in Cleveland, in a Cleveland uniform. I mean, he was just, one of those guys. And we could go toe to toe on badass with the Yankees, but these guys it's too nice a group. They're sweet guys, and they can't catch pop flies. So,
well, another reason I'm rooting for the Dodgers are they have two of my ex-Cardinals, Jack Flaherty, who of course pitched great in the first game, and Tommy Edman, who they just got this summer, and I hated Cardinals to give him away, and he's a real spark plug, as they used to say in the old days. Is that a word now, spark plug?
Oh yeah, sure.
Does anybody even have spark plugs? Yeah. Can you buy a spark plug?
That's right.
With everything being electric.
All
right.
Let's
anything else baseball? See, we talked 20 minutes on baseball, and Curry, you didn't care. So how about that?
That's right. He's loving
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk something Curry does want to talk about, the NFL, his favorite no fun league. We'll be back with that as we bring you back from Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. We welcome you back to Under the Bus. As I turn around, the Guardians have 2 men on, and if Manzardo doesn't hit a double play ball here, which he probably will, they'll get Ramirez up with a chance to tie the game. Third inning.
It's never
Those
over.
feisty Guardians, those underdog, minimum wage, feisty Guardians. The one thing the Guardians do have going for them in Jose Ramirez, speaking of him, and I was texting a friend of mine in New York last night, and we were after Soto's home run. He was, yeah, okay, he's great. And he says, but Ramirez is going to be back next year in Cleveland, and the next year, and the next year, and the next 4 or 5 after that. Where's Soto going to be? And
with the Mets.
Where is he going to be, Rich? Is he going to go to the Mets?
I think so. It's all about money. It's not about loyalty or, I would bet that he would go with the Mets because the Mets are going to pay him more money than the Yankees for sure.
Why is that?
Why
Because
won't the Yankees.
Well, the Yankees will, Steinbrenner doesn't like to spend a lot of money. I mean, I know he does. He's not like his dad.
They are only third in payroll. I was stunned.
If his dad was still alive, Soto would be there for sure. But Cohen from the Mets, he's got a lot of money, and he's not gonna take the back seat to the Yankees. I guarantee he puts more money on the table for Soto, and Soto's going to go where the money is. He's already said that, so I think he'll go with the Mets.
Okay.
Well,
there we go.
I'll tell you where the bus is. The bus is parked for the NFL. And where do we start? I mean, Jerry Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Sirianni. There's got to be room under there for everybody, right?
Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Room under the bus for a whole lot of people.
There's a great line about.
Go ahead.
There was a great line about Deshaun Deslees Watson the other day. Somebody tweeted out after he had another terrible game. He said, "Finally, he's a worse quarterback than he is a human being."
He's terrible.
That's a great.
And that could be right. There's been some research done of all the quarterbacks in that have played since 2000. Like 500 and some odd quarterbacks. His rankings in a number of different little metrics are right down in the bottom 5.
Is that right?
In the last 25 years. And the Browns will not get rid of him. I mean, they sort of can't because of the financials, but
they don't have to start him every week. They could. Why don't give somebody else a shot?
I mean,
as they are.
And look at this. They have, how are all their ex quarterbacks that they got rid of to keep Watson? How are they doing? Joe Flacco doing great.
Right.
Baker Mayfield doing great.
Right.
Yeah, we said that last week. Yeah.
And they already traded away Cooper today. They made a trade to Buffalo.
Yeah, to my Buffalo Bills. Cooper escaped from Hades.
So what do you think? I mean, they're throwing a towel. Their best receiver, right? I mean, good.
And the goofy thing is they get Nick Chubb back this week.
Right, correct.
Why are we talking?
Keep it together for a little bit longer, see if they could do something with it, but no.
Why are we talking about another Cleveland team? What is the deal?
No. Well, because they should be all talked about.
Cleveland night here. Look,
Detroit rocks.
Detroit. How bad did Detroit embarrass the Cowboys? I mean, how bad a clowning was that? That was him. I mean, they just clowned him, right? Yeah. They're throwing hook and ladder plays with a 30-point lead. They're throwing a 390-pound tackle eligible. And I love when they did that tackle eligible play twice, which is the play that cost them the game last year. Remember, the official said the guy didn't report in.
Right.
And so Campbell ran the same play twice in this game. And Jerry Jones, on Jerry Jones' 82nd birthday, by the way. And he's older. He's older than me, for God's sake. And so they asked Jerry Jones after. He said, "Well, the game was concerning." Concerning. That was his response. And they asked Dak Prescott. He said, "Well, Jerry said it's concerning," and Dak said, "Well, I'm not that concerned. I'm not going to jump off a cliff or something." I mean, this team. And then Jerry goes on. You heard about this this morning. We're we're doing this thing on Tuesday. He went on his own radio show, and they were asking him tough questions about him not doing anything in the off season, which he didn't.
He did.
And he goes after him. He gets really mad. And he says, I can get other guys to ask those questions, as if, he's going to fire these guys. And I learned that the station isn't owned by the Cowboys, but it's the station of the Cowboys games.
Right.
And Jones probably could have this guy fired. He could.
Yeah, of course.
Very good.
I mean,
But
how
he
did
didn't do anything in the offseason. He didn't look at their running backs. They have to have the worst running backs in the NFL. He didn't. Derrick Henry wanted to go to Dallas, and he didn't want to sign him. He's got no running backs. Who's he kidding?
We talked about that last week. He also apparently has no defense. I mean, I know their guys are out, but this guy, Mike Zimmer, who's about 140 years old, he comes in to coach the defense with all this great reputation. But I mean, Mike Zimmer, they might as well have Don Zimmer coaching this thing, or Bobby Zimmerman, who's also known as Bob Dylan. I don't know. But for Jerry to go after his radio guys like that and use his power was really low. Yeah. And people like Shannon Sharp came out on TV and just killed him. And I think this move is going to last. It's not going to be just a one-day story.
Well, Dallas is in trouble.
I think it's, that's par for. Jerry has taken the heat off of the team and taken it on himself. Okay, make it a 4-day story. Make it about me. He loves the attention anyway. I mean, it's a very Trumpian thing to do.
It should be on him. He's the one that chose not to go out and get some running backs, and he's the one that has the final say in all the moves they make. What moves did they make this offseason? Seriously, Detroit goes out, even though they had a great season last year, and goes and gets more players. What did Dallas do in the offseason? Nothing. They did nothing. It should all fall in his lap. For sure.
And this game was a huge FU from the Lions to the Cowboys. I mean, seriously. I mean, it was just as I said, it was just a clowning. I mean, no wonder he's so
Dallas is 0-3 at home this year.
Yeah. Speaking of clowns, how about your boy Nick Sirianni? What is his deal? He wins the game, and he goes over after the fans, yelling at his own fans, chirping. There were chants apparently at halftime, fire Nick. I mean, this is the Eagles' home crowd. They're winning the game. Fire Nick. No wonder he's upset, but to do that. And then worst of all, he comes into the press conference afterward and brings his children. Did you see this?
No,
he has his at the press conference, he has his young children on his lap. So they, and what a joke. I mean, this just in, Nick Sirianni has just been named the new manager of Hamas and Hezbollah. They love his move using children as human shields. It was just, if I was in that press conference, I mean, it was very difficult for the reporters now to ask tough questions about, here he is.
Sure.
Because he brings his kids in there. Come on. Then, of course, today, I guess he apologized, some random apology.
Right.
He said there were going to be changes in their bye week, and he shaved his head. You see this? He shaved his head, and then
he's making a big deal about it. I mean, guys, we're
he's gonna, he'll be gone at the end of the year. He will be gone at the end.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe. Oh, there he is. Look at this. This is so repulsive. I mean, this shows if I was in that press conference, I don't know what I would do. I might have asked him, why are your children here? You got to ask him that, right?
Yeah.
You got to ask him. Yeah, come on.
Now, if the children ask him, did the children ever get a chance to ask questions?
Well, one kid, the one son that was on his lap had a really strange look on his face when his father kept saying the same answer over and over. We're excited to get the win. We're excited. He said that about 5 times in answer to 5 questions. And the kid was probably in his mind going, Daddy, what are you talking about? Give an answer.
So what do you think he did when they got home that night and they had dinner at the table and the kid said, I'm excited to get the win over and over and over again. What a circus. they're pretty good still, I think, aren't they?
Well, of course they're
The
good.
Eagles?
That's why everybody wants him fired
Yeah.
because he's not getting enough out of this good. Even Rich said that last week. They're too good a team to have these stupid games that they're having. I mean, they're barely won this.
Well,
And
they're
Long
an upset
season.
alert this week because they play the Giants. Watch out.
Rich, are you sure he's going to get through the season? I'm not. If they
I
lose the
don't know.
Giants,
He might not. He might. He was
if they
almost gone last year. They talked about firing him last year, so I don't know if he'll make it through the season. But if he does, he'll be fired at the end of the year unless he goes to the Super
They're
Bowl.
yeah,
I mean,
their upper management's pretty smart. They're not going to run off and do anything crazy. So
he's
we
an
talked.
excellent owner, but I don't think he likes the stuff that's going on here.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
The locker room is laughing at this guy. Come on.
Yeah. The big trade, of course, coming off Monday Night Football, we talk about Amari Cooper going to Buffalo. Is Devontae Adams going to the Jets? Aaron Rodgers got his wide receiver now. Is this setting up for Rodgers to have no excuses?
Well, he has an excuse every week, doesn't he? Yesterday, he talked about the interception he threw, and he was blaming the Williams didn't do the right route, and he was thrown to a certain area, and he wasn't there. He's making excuses every week now. I kind of, for a guy who's a veteran quarterback, one of the best that's ever played, he's got to stop making excuses. You know, he's underthrew him. He underthrew him. The guy intercepted the pass. How about take ownership of that? I underthrew the guy.
Yeah. And he blamed him he blamed Williams for running the wrong route.
Right, correct. That's exactly right. So,
and now apparently Williams is on the trading block. Of course, they've got what's his name coming in from Oakland, who Aaron loves, his boy
Adams. Yeah,
Devontae Adams. But they're getting rid of Williams now right away. I mean, Aaron says he's not running the team.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Does anybody believe he didn't have anything to do with firing the coach?
Yeah.
No.
Come on.
Absolutely.
And and now he's got his homeboy coming in, and he's got Williams going out. There's no excuses anymore. You're right, Bob.
There is no excuse. They have all the skilled people they need. They really do. Bringing Adams in does it make him better? Yes. Does it bring him over the top? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean,
I don't think so either.
He also said he didn't know the trade was done until after the game. Does anybody believe that? Apparently Devontae was on a red eye, before the game started. Oh yeah, because he was there the next morning. He's there this morning.
Correct.
It's just a joke.
One other little piece of news that slipped through today. Tom Brady got his ownership stake in the Raiders approved.
Yeah.
Can he get Tom Brady to come back and play quarterback for him?
For the Raiders? Nobody cares about the Raiders, do they? Nobody cares about the Raiders. Come on. I mean,
a lot of people care. They care now. Tom Brady's their owner, or one of their owners.
10%. 10%.
Yeah, well, that's all the more I'd want to own of them, and let me pick my 10%. But
0%. Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, how about I got an anecdote. How about Spencer Rattler of the Saints? They come in, they're up at the half 27-24. You see this? And the final was 51-27. They didn't score in the second half because Rattler's throwing interceptions and fumbling and all this stuff. But I got to put in a note here for my boy, as you know, my boy Drake May.
Yeah,
I was going to say he had his debut.
A debut game, and it was rocky. And I'll say that he got beat, but he threw 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he led team in rushing. It's the first rookie quarterback in his debut game to do that since 1950. How about that for a stat?
Who was that? Sammy Graham?
I don't know. Sammy Ball? No.
Sammy Ball.
Otto
Graham. I'm sorry.
Otto Graham.
Sammy Ball was maybe Otto Graham. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that say something about the Patriots running game?
Yes, it does.
Well, they're terrible. They're terrible. And everybody's saying, why are you putting Drake May in now? He's going to get killed. But he really played, he had some really great moments.
Everybody has given him props for hanging in
Unlike,
there.
yeah, unlike Rich, I think he's going to have a really good career.
And unlike Deshaun Watson, he's at least got a future ahead of him, right? Deshaun's future is well behind him. That's for sure. Hey, we got to talk college ball. We got the NBA coming up. We got anything else NFL? Are we talked out on that? All right.
Oh no,
NBA begins this next week. You guys got to be wound up about that. I'll turn you loose on it when we come back and throw some other people under the bus. Welcome back to our final segment of Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. I turned around when we started the last segment. The Guardians had 2 on and only 1 out in the third, and Ramirez was going to be coming up. They didn't score. I turn around while we take that last break. They got 2 on in the fourth. They just need a hit.
Yeah,
preferably a large one, but
they got them in the second and third.
Back in the game and get it to that bullpen.
What's the score?
It's 3-0.
3-0. Yeah. Okay. But it's only 3-0.
Yeah.
We've settled it down again. Yeah. Hey, NBA is opening up. Lots of movement during the offseason. Does little Bronny win his ring this year and he and Dad ride off into the sunset?
You know what's kind of sickening is that the Golden State Warriors said they were going to draft him, but in respect of LeBron, they let the Lakers draft him. Who in their right mind would think that he needs to be drafted in the NBA? He can't score. He cannot score. Do you guys either honestly, without putting down, LeBron's son, do you honestly think he can play in the NBA?
Nobody thinks that.
No,
Nobody thinks that, but he defends and he passes the ball. But who didn't know this?
I can pass the ball. Hire me, I'll pass the ball.
But Rich, we knew this was coming, so just it's no big surprise here. Which is more violent-inducing, though, a Subway Series or Bronny and his son winning an NBA championship? Oh my God, that's not going to ever happen.
If they do. If they even advance deep into the playoffs, Daddy LeBron should be idolized. They should be building statues of him all over the league, because if he were to take his son's team, anchoring down the rest of the team.
Father of the year. How do we get into April? It's college football season. Come on. I can't get excited about
things in college football.
I can't get excited about that.
Look at the different things that happened this weekend. How about Kirby Smart with pushing the quarterback in Mississippi State? Justin, do you have that you can show? He apologized.
Didn't he claim he didn't know he was doing it or something?
Yeah, that's what he claimed.
He was just pushing away bodies. And, of course, if he'd have pushed the ref, that had gotten him, but he pushed the football.
When Woody Hayes did that, he lost his job.
Well, Woody Hayes, that was a premeditated sucker punch, but
was this after the game or when was it?
No, during the game.
No, they're still playing.
He says he didn't realize.
Yeah, he said, no, I didn't know it was. There were a lot of bodies around there.
Well, he needs to get penalized for that, doesn't he? Doesn't the SEC need to do something?
You would think.
Well, I mean, they ought to at least get into his checkbook. But yeah, that should be an unsportsmanlike 15 yards.
Well, what is he saying? He's saying he didn't realize the guy was there. He was just going down the sidelines. He said the sideline's so crowded. Going on.
Trying to make his point. Come on, Rich, you've done this before when you were coaching and you were up and you wanted to get at that ref. Nobody got in your way, right?
Yeah, and I remember that night.
I didn't push an opposing player out of the way.
Yeah, no, I remember that night you punched the lights out of some opposing player. I was there.
Yeah, right. Right. I hear you.
Well, hey, let's talk about the Big Ten. At least for this week,
Sure.
I think I like this switch pansion. Is that a word? It's not an expansion, but it's a switch pansion because all these teams are switching around. And, we had two terrific middle of the season Big Ten games. That's never happened before, right?
No.
It's always Ohio State, Michigan, the end. Nobody cares about the races.
Yeah.
But the Penn State Southern Cal game was terrific overtime. And then Oregon, Ohio State was, another game of the century, right? Right before our eyes. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah, I watched
Yes,
both of
a
them.
little bit.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
But Southern Cal, they really did get hosed. I mean, the two pass
Oh,
interference calls were not called. And it was so obvious. I mean, even
at the end. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my goodness. I mean, how could you not call that on either one of them? Both of them were really, really, it was obvious. It was so bad that guy didn't make the call. And when they come and sit there and go, well, we want the players to make the decide the games, not the officials. You are deciding the game when you don't throw the flag. It was terrible.
I
It was
can't believe
absolutely terrible.
I can't believe you're sticking up for Lincoln Riley.
Well, I'm not a Lincoln Riley fan, but that
I
was
got
I'm
I
not a
got
Penn
an
State fan either.
I got an anecdote. It goes back to the NFL. 5 starting quarterbacks in the NFL Sunday: Caleb Williams, Bears; Baker Mayfield, Bucks; Spencer Rattler, Saints; Jalen Hurt, Eagles; Kyler Murray, Cardinals. What do they have in common?
They all lost.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley recruited
Wow.
and coached him. 5 starting quarterback, pretty good. And then Lincoln Riley in real time has lost 3 games in the last play of the game, and their season is over. They're not going to make their own playoff, their own league, or the finals.
They get a chance to play in the Sun Bowl, in El Paso on Christmas. That'll be fun.
Well, Penn State, but Rich Penn State came from 2 touchdowns down, second half, tie the game, and Southern Cal has the ball about midfield. They're going, with like 30 seconds left. Lincoln Riley has 3 timeouts, and he ran like 5 plays in the last 2 minutes. He didn't go for it. He went for overtime.
Mhm.
He wouldn't run a play. And his reaction afterward was, I didn't want to give the ball to Penn State for the final drive. Well, you could have had the final drive if you tried to drive it. I mean, come on.
Well,
and so
sometimes these guys overcoach.
Some of the decisions made. Look at the Tennessee-Florida game. Florida had a chance to win the game with a 2-point conversion, decides to go into overtime. You're the underdog. You have a backup quarterback who's a freshman because your starting quarterback is out for the game. Would you not say, okay, I got one play, 3 yards out, one play to win this game, and no, he elects to go for kick the extra point? I would have went for it. If you're the underdog, you got one shot at it, 3 yards. The other way, you put the ball on 25-yard line. You got to score, and you got to prevent Tennessee from scoring. Here is just me against them. And what's that saying? As a coach, you don't believe in your system. You don't believe that when they have the ball on the 3-yard line that you can score. You should be practicing that play over and over and over again, and know you have options of what you can do to win the game at the end of the game.
I mean, this is a guy, the coach, hanging on by a thread. You beat Tennessee. You make that 3-yard touchdown. You make that touchdown, upset Tennessee. You may save your job.
Maybe save your job.
Yeah. Totally agree with that, Bob. Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, to get back to the Oregon. To get back to the Oregon-Ohio State thing, this really looked like number 2 and number 3. I mean, this was outrageous game. And, it had everything. I had like 7 lead changes, had a missed point after, a rocket launcher onside. Did you see this onside kick that hit the guy in the face and they recover it? I mean, it's unbelievable stuff. Then they have a guy spit in the guy's face, an Oregon player, spit, Trayshawn Holden, who has to be one of their best receivers. So he makes a great catch. He spits in the Ohio State guy's face, and somebody wrote, the Ducks not only have great expectations, they have great expectorations. But this game might have been decided. I don't want to well, it is a throw under the bus by the great freshman receiver for Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith. You know, they're down, they got the ball down. It's like 30 seconds to go. And he's caught 9 balls for 100 yards already. His 10th, he pushed off the guy. Offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
It sent Ohio State out of field goal range, and that made the whole last 30 seconds, which, you know, the Oregon coach put 12 men on the field, apparently on purpose to save 4 seconds, to get 4 seconds run off the clock. That's a rule that's got to be changed, right?
It used to be,
well, it used to be in the NFL. The Giants the Giants use it against the Patriots in the Super Bowl or something?
Maybe.
I think so.
Okay.
And the NFL changed it, said you can't do that anymore.
But give the Oregon coach credit for thinking of that, right?
He did it.
That's
and then the offensive pass interference put the great quarterback, the Will Howard from Ohio State, who's really terrific, transfer from Kansas State. He now has to scramble, and he scrambled and he thought he had it and slid, and the game ran out. No time left. It was it was terrific. This kid for Oregon. The kid for
Texas
Oregon
is still obviously the number one, but all of these guys are. It's going to be interesting. I wanted to ask you guys: are they going to beat each other up because of these good games, and then the playoffs are not going to be so good, and they're going to have 2 and 3 loss teams, or what do you see coming up in November and December, Curry?
Well, coming up next week now, your boy Kirby Smart goes to Texas to try and punch some guys. Maybe he'll try to hit more guys, more Longhorns. No, I think
tell him to look for Bevo. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the playoffs are going to be great. I can't wait. And there are going to be some rematches. I mean, Oregon, Ohio State, who wouldn't love to see that rematch?
Right.
They might play. They're probably going to play for the Big Ten championship. I don't see, unless Penn State is better than I think they are. And they always screw it up anyway.
They do for sure. Yeah.
Army Navy still undefeated.
I love it. Navy plays Notre Dame in 2 weeks. Upset alert.
This is the first time both are undefeated since the 40s. When the service academies were real powers in college football. So it's amazing. Can I get back to this kid at Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, is the quarterback?
Sure.
He started at Central Florida, played there a couple years, then played at Oklahoma last year. In fact, that day last year, he played in the Red River rivalry. He beat Texas, and now he's at Oregon, and he is something. I mean, he's not very big. I thought he was a lot bigger. He's a Hawaiian kid. He has played 55 college games. I think this is a record. And he reminds me of
he's done it will be,
yeah, that's probably right. He reminds me of Tua, the way he escapes, and looks like he's going down, and he's really good. I like.
Isn't he the favorite right now for the Heisman?
I think he went into second. I think he went into second place by the guy we haven't talked much about all year. I was going to bring him up. It's a running back from Boise State, Ashton Jaunty, and they played Hawaii. He played Hawaii. Nobody knows what this guy looks like because they play so late, and especially last Saturday night they played at Hawaii, and only idiots like me stay up to watch this kid, and he was even better than he is in the upper 48. He had 217 yards from scrimmage. He's had that's his 3rd game over 200 yards. He's on his way now after 6 games to break Barry Sanders' record, which is unheard of.
Yeah, but with more games, Barry Sanders still has the average per game. He's still not even close.
Average yardage per game, or average.
Yeah, yardage per game. Because he's going to get a 13th game. Barry had 11 games and 12 if you count the bowl. But and he'll still.
They may try to get this guy the record in 11 games. He said they interviewed him. He said he's got this bet with his lineman that if he doesn't break Sanders' record, he's willing to shave off all his. He's got this huge braids all over his face. He said he's going to shave off his braids if he doesn't break it. So I mean, 2 weeks ago he played only a half, and he had 180 or something. So if they were trying,
a few of those too.
Yeah, if they were trying to
Notice
get a
you're getting
record,
into. Yeah, you're getting on the local turf here. If you go after me on Barry Sanders,
well,
I
no,
watched
hey, no,
that.
it's just
No,
it's
no,
a
no, no.
great.
I'm just saying nothing. He can't unless he gets them. If he gets them into the playoffs, which they could do, they're the highest ranked group of 5, and shows something there. Then yeah, maybe.
He's 5'9", 215. He runs more to me like Emmitt Smith than Barry. I mean, nobody's Barry. Nobody will ever
Right.
be Barry Sanders. I'll give
Thank
you that. But I think Boise State would be my pick to get in this 12-team playoff, the outlier.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
question for you.
Yeah.
Who's the last player to win the Heisman Trophy from a non-Power 5 school? This guy, by the way, is going to win the Heisman Trophy unless somebody, one of these quarterbacks goes crazy. Because now the guy from Colorado, the two-way player, he looks like he's out with an injury.
Hunter, yeah. Travis Hunter's been hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. So can you come up with that? It's relatively
last
easy, actually.
Heisman winner from a non-Power 5. Did McNair win the Heisman?
No.
Steve McNair, the quarterback?
No, that's
all right. Okay. All right.
Last player, 1963. Roger Staubach,
Navy. Darn it, I should have known that.
That's a great trivia.
I saw him play in the Army-Navy game in 61, I think, or 62.
Oh, did you really? Oh, wow.
When Navy won 21-15, the Army had the ball on the 3-yard line and time ran out.
Wow.
And I cried on the way home.
I don't know how this kid, Jaunty, he's from Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas. How did all these Texas schools miss on this guy? I don't understand it.
Happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Guys miss out
But
on
it is amazing.
This guy, Bob, to give him another ups. Apparently, the NFL has him. He's going to be the first running back drafted. He's way up there in the NFL list.
Third round.
So.
Yeah.
Oh,
Any last under the buses?
Come on,
Bob. I have one. This is a little off the cuff here. Home team clock operators. Next time you watch a game, watch if it's a close game. You watch when they start the clock. It's amazing. Tennessee game. I watched the ball snapped, and it's like, when's the clock going to start? When's it going to start? I'm telling you, look at home teams in late in the game when the game is on the line. Watch when the clock starts and stops. The clock operator at Tennessee should be out the door. Even one of the officials, those guys that they go to when they say, "Hey, what do you think about that play, that call?" And they go, the guy, not in this particular game, but another game says, "See that clock operator? They should send him home because how poorly he runs the clock. It's embarrassing, to be honest."
Well, I think we feel like we're in our third hour here, but Rich, tell your quick story about you being a clock operator. Rich has a great story. Tell that quick story.
Which one? I don't remember.
The clock operator. Where you? Come on.
When I was doing the game.
Yeah. When you were running the clock at the football game.
Oh, the people started yelling at me.
In the end of the game. Yeah.
Oh, when I stop the clock at 0.1 seconds.
Yeah.
Our team ran. I was watching the ball. I wasn't watching the clock. I was watching the ball. And our guy or their team ran out of bounds. It was like 0.3 seconds. So they got one more play and then they scored and we lost the game. And I had an assistant coach start walking up to me and I said, in not in easy terms, "Get thee out of here because my integrity is more important than what's on that clock." And I didn't, I wasn't looking at the time. I was looking at the kid going out of bounds. And I stopped it and I looked in 0.3 seconds. Like, oh, Lordy, it is what it is, My thing is, hey, stop him from scoring. It's not my,
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Speaking of integrity, I got one. A regular on this segment under the bus, Lane Kiffin. So they played a great game, overtime game at LSU Saturday night. Another great college football game.
Right.
But all anybody could talk about was Lane Kiffin telling his guys to fall down as if they're injured to stop the clock again.
Yeah.
every time. I mean, he kept doing it. And the funny thing is, somebody counted, they've done that 29 times in the 3 games before LSU. Almost 10
Wow.
times a
my.
game. Almost the guys are going down, like they're shot. So, but Mississippi released a statement Friday night, the night before the game, saying we understand, we're knowledgeable about this situation. We've told our coaches to not do this. They're not going to do this anymore. Blah blah blah. Well, they did do it. They did do it all.
Of
They
course.
did it late in the game, and this was a great one. They did it late in the game. I don't know the situation, but a Mississippi guy goes down to stop the clock. Kiffin runs out onto the field to another official while they're dragging this guy off and screamed and yelled at the official the whole time they're treating his quote injured player. I mean, it was to distract everybody from it. It was unbelievable. I mean, so again, karma. He gets beat in the overtime by a field goal. I think his team missed a field goal, and then LSU kicked one. I'm surprised Kiffin didn't go down, at the end of the game like he was shot to take the victory away from LSU.
Good stuff. A great way to end the show. We've
right.
been on way long enough. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate, obviously, the support of Hudson's on the Docks, a great seafood restaurant on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com. For Justin Jarrett, for Rich Basirico, for Curry Kirkpatrick, I'm Bob Stevens.
It's still 3-0.
We got another guy on base. We still can't get him
3-0.
home. Yeah, you got to get him home, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Bob, I just hope your boy Class A gets in a game. That's all I can say.
I want you to see his haircut. We'll throw him under the bus then.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.